What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys have seen the last video we got the rebuilt Junkyard K24A2 engine into the KRX under the cover. I mentioned in the last video that we're not going to turn on the car. All I wanted to do was just plant it in there, and then we'll button it up as the day goes along. Last night I made a little list on a post-it of everything that I think I am missing based off a little picture I took on my phone, but made a little list of things that I'm missing today. I went to go grab a lot of it. Today's gonna be very chillax for me. I'm just gonna go through the engine bay and just button up whatever that I see. I'm not in a rush to try to get this thing to turn on because of a few things that I'm still missing, but hopefully, I mean, depends if I feel like riding this video out, maybe, just maybe, we'll turn this car at the end of the video. Who knows? But I'm gonna tell you guys right now, don't get your hopes up. Don't count on it. But I am definitely gonna get down to work, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull the covers off and see what's first on the agenda. Or maybe I shouldn't use my whiteboard and start writing things down so I can tackle them one at a time. So I went to the P.O. box earlier, picked up this package, and apparently it's from New York. But this package is actually sent over from Car Dude's Garage. If you guys don't know Car Dude's Garage, he was one of the first guys who sent stickers for my sticker board a while ago. And if you guys enjoy Honda Accord content, check out his channel. He has some boosted F-Series stuff, but he messaged me on Instagram and said he sent this over as a thank you and also a birthday gift. Got some newspapers. Wow. So before I even show you guys this, I want to give a big shout out to Giz Motorsports. Thank you for sending the first package of this, except it never got to me because it was actually torn out of the package, and when they put the package into my P.O. box, it was just an empty bag of nothing. But big shout out to Giz Motorsports and also Car Dude Garage for sending me out 17mm sockets. I've been stressing about my 17mm socket because I haven't found it yet, and it's been over a week. And thank you guys for sending me this to the P.O. box. Shout out to Giz Motorsports for the first one, and shout out to Car Dude's Garage for this set. This is a set, it's not just one. This set, and you know, it's funny, this is Craftsman as well as the Giz Motorsport one. It's a Craftsman set as well too. But thank you guys tremendously for the socket replacement for my toolbox, because it bothers me to know that I am missing a socket. All right, first things first is to install the driver's side axle, because the axle that belonged to this one went into the wagon when I broke it doing a test pass in Mexico. Oh, where the hell's my O2 sensor at? Oh, I took this off for the wagon. Crap. Okay, this bolt is way too short. Huh. So we got the exhaust buttoned up. Where is it at? Right there. Got it all secured, but I got a little worried right now. I was underneath the car, and I don't have the car jacked up too high, but just enough for me to shimmy down there and get the bolts on, right? So my ratchet, Milwaukee ratchet battery died on me. So I was sitting there ratcheting the 12mm to the flanges, and I slipped off and dead smacked myself right in the head. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like swollen right there. And the reason why I said I got a little worried is, if you guys don't know, a lot of you guys know this, I got into a car accident last year, and I had a giant concussion on my head from the impact, and I had a giant swollen forehead, and it was so big that my eye wouldn't open, and I was scared because I hit it on the same spot, and I was like, I don't know if I was gonna black out or if this was gonna get really lumpy or what, but I'm obviously talking, this happened like 5 minutes ago, so be very careful. change the battery. Now that we have both axles in place, I can put the fluids in there now. And I am running Valvoline Synchro Mesh. You can get this from O'Reilly's. Before I even knew Valvoline Synchro Mesh existed at O'Reilly's, I've always ran the Pennzoil Synchro Mesh from AutoZone, yellow container. And while I was at O'Reilly's buying everything else, Nomis was like, they should have it. So I talked to the guys at the counter. Shout out Carlos, he found this for me, and I am running the MTF Synchro Mesh from Valvoline, 2 quarts in the Z3 transmission with the stock factory LSD. Now, if you're running aftermarket like Kaz or M Factory, they have their own like recommendation for fluids to run. Now, I've ran OEM Honda MTF before with no problems, but because I'm already at O'Reilly's making one trip, I am going to be running the Synchro Mesh. Although I do prefer the Synchro Mesh anyways because of the additives that are in it. So let's go ahead and fill this up. I normally pour a little bit and then I check. I gotta make sure that drain bolt is tight because I've had it loose before from draining it previously. Man, I'm really starting to feel that weight on my head. All right. All right, next up, we have a brand spanking new fan switch. This is a Master Pro. It was only like $11 opposed to the import direct from O'Reilly's, which has lifetime warranty. And this pretty much blocks off that billet thermostat housing, M18 by 1.5. This one has an O-ring, so I'm not worried about it. And that goes to my fan wire, which is bypassed, right? So it makes more sense for me to run the fan switch only to allow the fan to come on when it needs to, because the car has no outer air control valve, so it takes forever to warm up. So snug tug. Shout out to Brian, B&R Fittings. Has everything I need usually and ships out in one day because he's local. So I have a coolant fill neck right here, which I'm probably gonna weld after I install my orb fitting for my fuel pressure regulator. This is an 8 orb to a 6 orb. This allows me to put the regulator on the fuel rail. Previous one has a 6.6, so I'm gonna have to remove this. You don't need Teflon on this because it does have an O-ring on it already. So simply enough, screw that on there. I am also running the B&R Fittings Fuel-It regulator. This is the mini regulator up to 100 PSI. You can check out his website, always in the description below. Thank you, Brian, for always hooking it up with the builds. But simply enough, -8 orb goes on here like so. Just twist it on. And then you obviously want to position your regulator however you want it to sit, right? Before fully tightening it down. And where does my line sit? I believe it just goes underneath. So, I don't know, something like that maybe. All right. These guys run together. Angled enough that it's not going to be a hood clearance issue. Just got to wipe all that dust off and thing is ready to rock and roll. All right guys, so what I did here was I added an extension on the upper coolant housing right here. And the reason why I did that is because I need to kick out the tube that I'm gonna be welding on here to have the fill neck on, which is this right here, right? And I need it to be away from this nut right here, because if I put it too close, it's gonna be a real tough one. So if I move it right here in between this, right, it'll actually give me plenty of room to take off this nut. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Got this all fitted up, and I think it's ready to weld. Something like that. Yes, sir. Look at that. I need you guys to not make fun of me. That thing works great. I hope. So I am gonna be bypassing the heater hoses like I've always have, only because this car doesn't have any of the heater core stuff when I got it. It was a strip shell. But I kind of been talking to T7 Designs. They have this custom race heater box, and I potentially am gonna be getting one of them from them to try out in this car, because I most definitely do want to have heater in here, but I don't want to run all the factory stuff. So for right now, we're just running this I don't know if this is 5/8. This is totally a different side. This one's bigger, but I'm just gonna run this heater bypass for now. I don't think there's much more I can do as far as the engine stuff. Like, standing here looking at this, it's almost ready to fire over. I just need throttle body, throttle cable. I mean, technically, like I said earlier, I don't need the throttle cable. I can just plug this up, plug TPS sensor up, and we can turn it on like that, right? So the only thing is, I'm not running my actual oil just yet. I am going to be running the Valvoline VR1, which, come on, Valvoline VR1 2050. This is what my tuner recommends, and also Nomis said that this is good to run, high zinc. But before I run this oil, he sent me a STP non-detergent SAE 30 oil to break in with. So for right now, we're gonna leave it off here. We'll pick back up tomorrow with some more progress. I'll see you guys then. My oil pressure sensor has not come in yet, although it is just barely the afternoon. This morning I went to AutoZone to grab some oil. Decided to not order off of Amazon only because AutoZone had what I needed. So what I bought here is STP non-detergent lubricating oil, 30 weight, and this is literally like just break-in oil. And the reason why I got this is because Nomis Industries, he builds engine, but he's also your local cop plug, and he builds engines. He always recommends to, obviously with any new engine, you want to break in the motor with break-in oil, right? So typically I run just cheap oil, cycle it for a couple of heat cycles, drain it out, put my oil in. That's what I was going to do with the K24, cheap oil, couple heat cycles, drain it out. But after a expertise advice, he recommended to run this for the engine and then drain it out for the VR1 that I'm going to run. He also recommended, you know, cheap conventional oil with like additives in it, ZDDP. But looking at the price between the two together was a lot more than this, and the only difference is you can drive on it for a while, 30-50 miles, drain it out, then put your fresh oil in. I'm only trying to cycle this engine a couple heat cycles and then drain this out and then run the VR1. So that's why I got it. He told me it was an old school way of doing it. A lot of people don't really use this stuff anymore. I went to AutoZone and this thing was super dusted. That means this thing never left the shelf, never ran low on inventory because nobody bought them, but I did. When I got back, I started tinkering with the engine bay here real quick, just to kind of button up a lot of loose end wiring and things like that, tuck stuff up away, and really just get it ready to fire over. Now, I said don't really count on me trying to turn this car on in this video, but after looking at everything last night, it's just fluids. Can't really access the door on the other side, but I need to plug up. You guys can't even see it down here, but I need to plug up my ECUs, my harnesses, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't even know where my ECU is at. Gotta go find that. So the engine fluids are all in. The only thing left here that I can see is coolant, and I need to find my reservoir since my Mishimoto one ended up going into the giveaway car. So aside from that, the battery and this thing should turn on. Now, I really don't want to turn it on because I don't have my oil pressure gauge, which should come in today. But all of my engine years before, brand spanking new, I've never had an oil pressure gauge. Most definitely going to disconnect my injectors just so we don't fire into the cylinder to turn this thing over. But I think I'm gonna try to turn it on. So let's grab the battery. So guys, I did a once over with everything. I think I am ready to turn this car on. I just got the battery all hooked up in the back over here. Brand spanking new battery, so it's got full juice. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna crank the engine over with without my injectors, so that way we're not firing fuel to crank this thing over on the first shot. We want to make sure we're priming the oil pump to pump all the fresh fluid throughout the entire engine. We're gonna check for leaks and stuff, and then we'll hook up the injectors to fire the car over. So right now we're gonna do the first startup right now with the rebuilt K24A2 motor in the KRX. This is kind of nerve-wracking, even though I've been through this before. I really miss my interior. It's been a while since I've been in here. And let's see if I even got power. Oh yeah, we got power. Fuel prime. All right. I'm kind of nervous here, guys. Very nervous. Give that little break and go check for leaks. No fuel. Fuel look good. Fuel looks good. Mind you guys, if you're just joining in now, we are recording on the GoPro and on the live stream, so there's two cameras on here. Sorry for pointing you guys to the floor, but definitely going to crank it over a little bit more to prime the oil. The motor sounds really good, and I'm ready to fire this thing over. Get my injectors plugged up here. Ground cable, Gucci taters. All right, first start, and I am nervous. Here we go. KRX, will you live? Let's go. So I can't step on the throttle because I don't have a throttle cable, but we kind of heard a little glimpse of it. Man, I definitely don't want to pour a bunch of gas in here. Man, I wish I had a throttle body that worked. Right now I can't really give it the extra air because I can't open the valve, but this is scary, dude. I can't open up the freaking throttle body. Oh man, can I rig something up? Hold on, let me see if I can rig something up real quick. I kind of rigged up the throttle cable to the valve on the throttle body just to open the valve from the inside of the car. So zipped out of the way. The bracket, obviously you can see we don't have enough length on the cable, and I just kind of zip tied, you know, to the bracket there. But hopefully we can give it some air and hear it breathe. Let's do this again. Make sure it's working. Oh, it's working. It is working. Woo-hoo-hoo! Okay. Gave it some throttle. It actually sounded pretty damn good. Wow, it fired right over, dude. Let's go. I forgot how loud this car is. Holy cow. I don't know how to check my check engine light. I don't have the switches here. Yeah, doggy. That's what I'm talking about. Idle? No, it does not idle. So I just did a little bit of adjustment on the idle stop, or the stopper screw, and we're going to turn this thing on again without the pedal. Hey, it idle, baby. Look at that. Can you see my foot? You guys see my foot is right here. You see? Yes, sir. Look at that. I'm pumped. I am pumped. All right.
Yeah, give it a couple of heat cycles, you know?
Oh, you know it. Okay, I'm gonna turn it up right now. Okay, we're going up. I think that's about 900 RPMs right there. Yes, sir. Look at that. 900. Yo, this thing sounds good, dude. It's so quiet until you throttle it. Watch, it's really loud. So I was chilling on the live stream a little bit on Instagram, and I just got off of that because it froze on me. So the exhaust was leaking because I took the O2 sensor out for the wagon, and it's just an open hole. I saw it when I was installing everything underneath the car, but I forgot to plug it up. Now I don't have an O2 sensor. I do want to put an O2 sensor in it. I just don't have one right now, so I'm gonna put this little plug on it just to plug it up for now. The only pair of headlights that I have is my glass EDM headlights, and I really don't want to, bro, it's been up here for like 6 years, and the last set of ZC headlights that I have went into the red CRX. The KRX is supposed to get the J front, but I'm not throwing the J front on now, and the headlight are specific to that. So in order to use my USDM front end, I have to use these headlights. So I gotta dig it out. So back in the days, I bought these for 120 shipped overseas. And again, they are my glass headlights that I bought for the wagon. Now the wagon has a J front on it as well. That's why I took these off. And it's been a very long time that this has been stored. This is for the 9091 corner lamps, which has this big tab right here. And the car is an 88, So I'm gonna have to use my SIR corners. That is for that headlight. This is 8889 because it has 2 screws on the side. There we go, no screws. So that big old tab is for this right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get everything unwrapped. And oh crap, JDM headlight uses a single plug and a dual filament bulb, which I don't have. So I think eventually I'm gonna run side markers on the KRX because the corner lamps only uses 1 socket where the USDM uses 2. So the other one's gonna be tucked away in the fender until we do the cutout for the fender and utilize that 1 hanging bulb. Guys, I am so stoked that this car is kind of like put back together, kind of, because I don't have wheels on it just yet. But man, KRX is coming along. Got the EDM headlights on here with the SIR 9091 corners, the SIR carbon fiber hood for the USDM front. Got the 8889 bumper back on with the lamps. I'm really loving this bumper opposed to the 9091. I really like the flat under bumper without the little grill right there. And wow, this thing is, it's coming along, man. I'm super stoked to have this thing back up on the road. Now the hood is closed. I wanted to make sure that it's still latched and everything lined up great, which it does. So there are still a few things I need to button up with the car, guys. Obviously we're still running the non-detergent oil, and I am going to cycle the engine a couple more times with this oil before I drain it out for my VR1. I still need to change the temp sensor down low right there, so I don't want to fill it up with coolant and then having it all splashing when I pull that plug out. So I'm going to leave the coolant for when the sensor comes in. That guy just pulled up. Here's my oil pressure gauge. The other thing I need to take care of is my throttle body. I got to figure out a solution for this. If I can find a GSR throttle body with the opposite valve, it'll work for my setup. But right now, we're just going to leave this be. The car isn't going anywhere, so I'll take care of that when I find one. My daily wheels for the KRX is actually on La Ponda, which is the RPF1 reps. And I'm going to leave that on the car because, I mean, it's kind of on the car already. But I got some new shoes for this car. The street shoes for this car, because I have my track shoes and now I just got some new street shoes for this car. You guys are gonna have to stay to the end of the video to see what it is, because they've been sitting there for a while, but I don't think I've shown you guys what it is. So I am going to wrap up the video right here, guys. I hope you enjoyed the rebirth of the KRX with the rebuilt K24A2 engine. And if you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for the follow-up with the KRX, because I am going to get this car all buttoned up and then to alignment rack and hopefully schedule a tune really soon, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.